into it.
It was about 6 in the afternoon. I was arrested for refusing to give my seat to a white male passenger on the orders of the bus driver. The bus was organized with racial segregation, the white passengers to the front and the colored to the rear. And the bus driver, of course, would move or rearrange his passengers to his wishes, would order some persons to give up their seats for white passengers who had to stand.
And he ordered you?
Yes, he did.
And then what happened?
When I refused to move, he had me arrested, put in jail.
And the bus driver, was he very violent? Or?
No, he wasn't. He just called the policeman when I refused to stand up.
And what was the attitude of the police?
Well, they questioned me about why I refused to give up the seat, and when I told them I didn't believe I should have to give up the seat, they told me I was under arrest.
It was all done quite easily, or was there violence or anger?
There was no violence nor anger on the part of any of us involved at that time. I did this because I felt I was being violated as a human being. I had had a hard day of work on the job, and I was physically tired as well as just mentally vexed and sick of this type of thing we had to endure as a people because of our race. It did not seem right, it wasn't right, and I felt that I was being mistreated.
We knew that she was going to be convicted. But what was more important than her case per se, whether or not she was convicted or not, was the fact that between the time she was arrested on Thursday and the time of the trial on Monday, the black community had become so upset and disturbed over the bus situation and over Mrs. Parks' arrest until we had concluded that this simply was it, the straw that broke the camel's back, and that we were going to stay off of the buses until we could get some type of consideration. I think if there was any one point or one event in the civil rights movement that started in the 50s, you can pinpoint it to the Montgomery bus boycott and Mrs. Parks, who's here, and which was symbolized by this courtroom and her conviction in it.
I need women to know.
Born the eldest of 2 children in 1913, Rosa Louise McCauley was raised on her grandparents' farm in Pine Level, Alabama. As a child, Rosa was exposed to the realities of segregation. She walked to school daily because the elementary school bus system prohibited black students from riding. Rosa later attended the Alabama State Teachers College High School. However, due to both her grandmother and mother's illnesses, she was forced to drop out. At 19, Rosa met Raymond Parks, who worked with Montgomery's NAACP chapter. After their marriage in 1932 and much encouragement, she earned her high school diploma. Rosa joined Raymond in the NAACP, serving as the chapter's secretary and youth leader.
History is peculiar. It places gifted and talented women and men in situations where they must make a choice. The choice she made was on the afternoon of the 1st of December, 1955, on a bus as she was going home from her seamstress job in a department store in Montgomery, Alabama.
Rosa, along with 3 other black passengers, were...
See, now, I didn't know that she was actually a seamstress because in school I learned about Rosa Parks, but they just tell you, oh yeah, it's, you know, she didn't want to give up her seat, so they arrest her or whatever. But even in school, they don't tell you like she was a seamstress. You know, they don't really tell you about all the struggles and anything that she did. So I generally didn't know that she was a seamstress. It's like it's just ignorant on my point, to be honest, because you know, I didn't do further investigation into her and what she was about.
told to give up their seats to a white male passenger. She refused and was arrested. An all-day bus boycott was organized on the day of Rosa's trial, December 5, 1955, where she was fined $14 and found guilty.
She was a role model for courage in the face of racial injustice. Rosa Parks, through her quiet eloquence, through her commitment both to her faith and to the cause of civil rights and racial equality, was prepared to sacrifice everything, her security, even her life, to fight for what was right, at least her perception of what was justice.
Thousands of people walked, carpooled, and took cabs to work. The boycott lasted 381 days, with the 26-year-old Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. as their
Her perception of what was justice.
Thousands of people walked, carpooled, and took cabs to work. The boycott lasted 381 days, with
381 days you boycott. I promise you, our ancestors back then, they was with the shits. Whether anybody wants to believe it or not, they are with the shits. But that's another thing I didn't know.
the 26-year-old Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. as their leader. Rosa was not the first person to refuse to give up her seat. 2 other women were previously arrested for the same offense. However, it was this quiet 42-year-old who became the face of the Montgomery bus boycott. In 1956, groundbreaking history was made.
The Supreme Court decision by a 9-0 vote supported the civil rights position, calling for an end to racial segregation on municipal buses.
Unable to find work, largely due to her political stance, the Parks moved north to Detroit, Michigan. And by 1965, Rosa began to work for Congressman John Conyers until 1988 when she retired. In memory of her husband and in her vision for a better tomorrow, Rosa co-founded the Rosa and Raymond Parks Institute for Self-Development, which educates young people on the civil rights movement, gives freedom bus tours, and provides youth with professional guidance. Rosa also worked giving lectures and advocating for social justice. Rosa Parks passed away on October 24, 2005. She was the first woman and second African American to lie in honor at the U.S. Capitol Rotunda.
Okay.
Rosa received over 24 honorary doctrines and numerous national and international awards, among them the Medal of Freedom from President Clinton and the Congressional Gold Medal of Honor. Rosa was a grassroots activist for social justice and peace, through her efforts in the civil rights movement to her participation in the anti-apartheid movement for South Africa. Although she never planned on getting arrested, her simple action changed the course of a nation.
It's not like that now.
I think Mrs. Parks unexpectedly had greatness thrust upon her. I think she was born for it. And I do think she achieved it. You see what I mean? But had she not, of that particular day, said, I'm not moving, my feet hurt, we would have a different nation and a different world.
Type shit, boy. Put it on. Yeah, it's really not that bad. Nothing really else more to say. I'm not gonna read a list or anything. But Rosa Parks, I mean, honestly, when you really think about it, it really wasn't, like, she played a major role just for one simple thing, like Maya Angelou said, about not moving from the seat, and how Rosa Parks was just like, I was too tired mentally, and I just, and even physically, and I just didn't want to move, and I didn't think I had to. I respect that. Everybody should respect that. Yeah. Well, that will be it for today. Shout out to Rosa Parks.